Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to dive into something pretty cool, the fascinating and sometimes confusing differences between British and American English. You know, it's all one language, but with these fun little quirks. So, let's get into it.
So this really sets the stage for us, doesn't it? It's a great reminder that at the end of the day, we're talking about the same language. We're just looking at a few small but really interesting differences that have popped up over the years. So, have you ever had that feeling? You know, you're watching a TV show or maybe talking to someone, and they use a word you've just never heard before, even though you know you're both speaking English. It's kind of confusing, right?
Well, guess what? You're not going crazy. It really is all English. The key is to think of these differences not as mistakes or errors, but as cool little twists that actually make the language way more interesting.
All right, so let's jump right into our first section, and it's a big one, vocabulary. This is where you'll find completely different words for the exact same thing, depending on where you are in the world.
Okay, so check this out. It's a classic. In the US, you get into an elevator. In the UK, you get into a lift. It's the exact same box that goes up and down. And the same goes for mail. Americans have a zip code, and the British have a postcode. Same idea, just a different word.
Okay, but here's where things get really interesting, and maybe a little confusing. It's not just different words for the same item. Sometimes it's the same exact word meaning two totally different things. And that's where the fun really starts.
And this is just a perfect example. In the UK, if you talk about a purse, you mean that small thing you keep your money and cards in. But in the US, a purse is the whole handbag. You can see how that might lead to some funny mix-ups, right?
Okay, so we've talked about spoken words. What about how they're written? Spelling is another huge area of difference. And while the changes seem small, the cool thing is there are some patterns here that are actually pretty easy to spot once you know what to look for.
This one is probably the most famous one you'll see. In British English, a lot of words have that OUR spelling, like color or favor. American English just kind of simplifies it and drops at you, so you just get OR.
And yep, you guessed it. Here's another super common pattern. Words in Britain that end with TRE, like center and theater, get flipped around in the US to end in TER. It's a simple switch, but you see it everywhere.
All right, this next one is super subtle, but for native speakers, it's a total giveaway. We're talking about prepositions, those tiny little words like on, at, and in. They might seem small, but they make a huge difference in how natural you sound.
Just look at this example. It seems so small. In American, we'll often say, see ya Friday. A British person, though, is much more likely to add that little word on. See ya on Friday. That tiny little word makes a world of difference.
Okay, let's move on to what our source says is, well, the biggest difference of them all. And it's not about the words you choose or how you spell them. It's about how you actually sound. We're talking about accents.
Yeah, the source really hammers this home. It says this is the really important difference. Because more than anything else, it's the accent, the pronunciation, the music of the language that instantly tells you where someone is from.
I mean, think about it. The second someone from the US starts talking in London, everyone knows. And it works the other way around too. Just imagine how an American says the R sound in the word car versus a British person. It's that sound, that rhythm. That's the biggest clue of all.
All right, that was a lot to take in. So let's do a super quick recap of the key things to remember. Just a few simple points to help you feel a little more confident navigating these two types of English.
So, first up, vocabulary. Think lift versus elevator. Keep an eye out for those. Second, spelling. Remember those simple patterns, like that extra U in color. And third, listen for those tiny little prepositions, like whether you hear on Friday or just Friday.
And honestly, this might be the most important point of all. One version is not better or more correct than the other. They're just different. So for you, it's not about memorizing what's right or wrong. It's just about being aware so you can understand what people are saying.
So I'll leave you with this question to think about. As you keep learning, you might find you prefer one style, or maybe you'll mix and match. And you know what? There's really no wrong answer. It's just part of your own unique journey with this amazing language. Thanks for tuning in.